Hey, it's Dr. Steve. I want to talk to you today about communication in everyday life. There are some really simple steps. I'm going to say there's probably three or four. Will just depend how this rolls out, but three or four steps in which we need to communicate. So hang in there, and we're going to reveal those. Okay, so there's a couple of kind of major premises that I think everybody needs to know, especially in relationships or you're with other people. And I think it starts probably with something really simple, like think of you scrolling through. And, the titles of those videos are really designed to either A, capture your attention, but also to encourage you to take the next step, to take action, to click on something. So just think of that every single day. Most people in the Western world are scrolling through or clicking through on something at some point throughout the day. Now, the key is, you can call that marketing, but the key is that they are trying to get into your values. They are trying to get into what's important to you. And so they know as marketers that if they get the right thing and into your values, that you are going to at least click on it. And then once you click, they're going to continue to speak to your values until something's overwhelming enough or pushes you to maybe place an order or make a purchase or something like that. So it's really simple. Like that's what's happening every single day when you're online. And the algorithms are trying to, again, continue to discover what's in your values so that they can put in front of you what they think is going to get the most views out of you or the most time that you spend on something, etc. So how does that go into everyday communication? Well, just understand that as you're interfacing with people, whether you're at a coffee shop or you're at a park or you're at your job, it doesn't really matter. The point is, people are interfacing with you. And if they find what you're saying or doing appealing, or i.e., matching their values or matching what's important to them in the moment, then they're going to stay with you. They're going to be attracted to you. They're going to wait and kind of maybe allow themselves to kind of open up to you. But you got to be hitting those values. And so in any communication, like I'm attempting to do right now, with the title that we put and the little caption on the front of the video, is if you're wanting to learn about communication in everyday life, and that's something that's at the top of your mind, then this video is going to provide you with exactly what that is, that value. And so rule number one is to remember that everybody has a unique set of values, things that are highest on their priority list and lowest on their priority list, and they will have no attention for things that are lower on their list, but they will have more than enough attention for things that are most important and most relevant to them. So think about you, for example. If I was to look at your browser, I'm going to find really common things that you're going to be searching in search engines for the most part. And they're going to revolve around one, two, or three topics for the most part. And just go and do that. Go take a look at your thing. Mine will find generally personal development, some form of spirituality, some form of something around family dynamics, relationships, health. So you'll see fitness blogs and weightlifting and nutrition. And so they'll have themes. Like we all have themes to what we consume. So communication in everyday life, when we're interacting with somebody, our job is really, if we want to be effective communicators, is to find out what's most important to you. Because if I know what's most important to you, I know how to communicate to you. Or at least I know the topics that will be interesting, or the topics that will be fascinating, or the topics that will keep you interested, or the topics that will keep you engaged, or the topics that motivate you. And so, just like you want someone else, if you're engaging in a conversation and you're super inspired about talking about art, and all of a sudden they start throwing out algebra or calculus and talking math, and you're like, this is so not a match for me right now. This does not match my values. And so you can sense the disconnect in the mismatch of not necessarily understanding the values. But imagine for a second you're in that conversation and they say, hey, did you know that and they knew that you were maybe an artist, and they're like, hey, did you know that art really is foundationally mathematic? And you'd be like, really? And they're like, yeah, can I show you something that will actually like really blow your mind around your art and art in general and how it relates into math? And you'd be like, yeah, let's hear it. So maybe math in and of itself isn't that interesting in terms of communication, but if they tied it in with your values, it would pique your interest. The same thing in everyday communication is you're looking and you're listening for little things that are going to reveal somebody's values. What's important to them? What are they having conversations about? What are they talking about? What's of interest to them? If you're not curious enough to go in and track that down, you are not going to know how to invite yourself into their world. And if you can't have the capacity to listen curiously to understand what their hierarchy of values are, then you'll never really get in the door, so to speak, because you'll be kind of shooting at random targets, but you won't really know what they're about. And every time I consult with somebody, I generally start off at least a half an hour will be taken to find out what's most important to them. If things change, how will life be different? Oh, I'll be able to go for a walk, or I'll be able to do this, or I'll be able to connect with these people, or I'll be able to heal my relationship, my marriage, and like they'll start they'll start rhyming off all the things that are important to them, and I'm listening to collect data and evidence as to like what's important to you. So everyone has a unique set of values, a really unique set of values that's unique and fingerprint to them like a snowflake. It's unique. The second thing is you need to be able to be curious enough and listen enough to ask yourself, what I wonder what their values actually are. Because before I just go and blurt something out, before I just go and attempt to have a communication conversation with them, it might be wise to know what actually opens them up and has them attracted and what has them interested and what piques their curiosity. Because in that state, now they're more open, you can kind of slide in with your ideas or whatever you're going to propose or something, or maybe a conversation that you want to have. You got to kind of open the door. And I remember taking a coaching program years and years ago, and they had suggested kind of like in an everyday life, the first way just to kind of like crack the door was this old saying. It was see it, say it. If you see something that they seem attentive to, for example, their lipstick, their earrings, their t-shirt, something kind of really unique where you see they've put attention on, just comment on it, say it. Because when you say it, what it does is because it's on their values, it opens them up for a moment. And then as they're open, then they've opened the door and you can begin to invite yourself into their world, and not have to blast through the defenses that we build in everyday life. So everyone has a unique set of values. Number two is your job is to find out what their values are. And on that note, sometimes they'll wear it, sometimes they'll be saying it, sometimes you heard it from a friend, etc. So you may know or not know what their values are, but it's your job to go, if you want to communicate effectively with them, your job to go and find it. The third thing is to invite yourself into their world. So, hey, would you like to hear about, hey, did you know about, hey, would you, so you got to like kind of like preface that you're about to enter into their world in conversation. That's the healthiest, for sure, the healthiest way to communicate. So how might that look in every day? I might run against someone in a coffee shop, let's say. And I'm like, oh my God, hey, God, your hair looks phenomenal today. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, I just came back from the hairdresser. Boom, they're open. And if I want to kind of like start inviting them, maybe I had something that I wanted to say to them. And then I say, hey, do you mind if I just mention something really quick about this and that? And so now I've invited myself into their world. I've opened them up, invited them in, and now we provide the opportunity for them to dialogue with me. Hey, do you mind if I just mention this really quickly? And they'll be like, yeah, what? They're ready, they're open, they've already allowed me into their world, and they're ready to converse. So first thing is knowing that everyone has a unique set of values, that they open according to their values, meaning if you hit on their highest values, boom, they're open, they're attracted, they're ready, they're motivated, they will move on it. And your job is to be curious enough to go and track down what their values really are, what really matters to them. And then as you do that, if you kind of hit on their values and you'll notice that they're interested, their body posture is engaging, now it's time that you can start to move into their world, either inviting yourself into their world, making a suggestion into their world, but you're essentially asking them, can I come into your world for a moment and have a dialogue? If you do those, if you kind of cover those in your mind, those three things, they have a unique set of values. What are they? And have I invited myself into their world? You will take care of 80% of awkward, difficult communication because you'll be able to sense when there's a right time for things and when there's not. And instead of just bulldozing your way through and feeling the pain of the whiplash of their defenses, because it's like, wrong time, um, you take very quick, small steps. Compliment, open in their values, find out their values, what are their values, and then I'm sliding in to ask them, can I come into your world for a moment and either discuss something relative to your values, or can I discuss something that I want to discuss with you? So you've opened them up and then invited yourself in. Those are fundamental, basic ways of communication in everyday life. You do think about those three things. You'll be a winner in terms of communication. People will feel at ease with you. They'll feel safe in your presence. They will feel confident. They'll feel respected in your presence. And that's the way you roll out early kind of moments of the communication and interaction. And hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other questions about communication styles or anything like that, just let me know. Hopefully this was helpful, served you well, and have a beautiful day.